a man needs 600 servants to live. And just 4 kilometers away, millions of others need just 1 drop of clean water to survive. In the heart of India, on one side stands a $2 billion mansion with its own helipad. On the other side lies a slum the size of a city, where children sleep under scorching tin roofs. And in the middle stands the name Gautam Adani, a man wealthier than Jeff Bezos, yet almost no one in the country dares to speak his name. In this video, you'll discover 8 fascinating facts about Gautam Adani, and at the end, I'll reveal something you won't want to miss. The man richer than Jeff Bezos, yet almost no one in India dares to speak of him. If you think Jeff Bezos is the pinnacle of wealth, then you've probably never heard of Gautam Adani, a name that even Indians dare only whisper. In a world where Elon Musk dominates with rockets and Bernard Arnault with luxury perfumes, Adani has quietly climbed to the top 3 richest people on the planet, surpassing Jeff Bezos and even coming close to Bernard Arnault. At his peak, Adani held a fortune worth $138 billion. To put that into perspective, if someone earned $1 million a day, it would take over 378 years to reach that figure. But Adani? He did it in a single lifetime, not through technology or social media, but through infrastructure, energy, and things that no one pays attention to until he owns almost all of them. But behind those numbers lies a world of stark contrasts. In a country where 230 million people live below the poverty line, where millions of children have to drop out of school to help their families, Gautam Adani lives like a king without a throne or a queen, but with an empire worth hundreds of billions of dollars. What makes Adani special is not just his wealth, but his silence. No one sees him making a splash on Twitter like Elon Musk. No one hears him making shocking statements like Donald Trump. And there are no Netflix documentaries about his life. Because Adani's world is not for the public, it is shielded by security walls, vague numbers, and an extremely secretive network of power. While Jeff Bezos flaunts his yacht and Elon Musk live streams about AI, Adani quietly buys another airport. While Western billionaires are celebrated by the media, Adani is protected by the state's absolute silence, like a national secret. What transformed a 16-year-old dropout from a commerce school into the richest man in India? And what compels him to live behind layers of security as tightly as a head of state? Behind that peaceful facade lies a story few dare to tell, one of money, power, and the terrifying hidden forces lurking in the shadows. And that's just the beginning. So what propelled Adani from a dropout to a man the entire nation revolves around? The answer lies in the empire he quietly built, the Adani Group. The most powerful yet secretive empire in India, how the Adani Group took over the country. If there is an empire powerful enough to manipulate India's entire economy with a single signature, it is the Adani Group, a money-making machine run by Gautam Adani. But this is not just a corporation. It is a giant octopus with tentacles reaching into every seaport, every power plant, every gas station, and every essential infrastructure that Indians use every day, even when they don't know it. The Adani Group is a multinational corporation with dozens of subsidiaries, controlling key industries such as energy, coal mining, transportation, logistics, infrastructure, airports, real estate, agriculture, and even media. In other words, if you wake up one day and find yourself living in an Indian city, it is highly likely that every drop of water you drink, every kilometer you travel, and every light bulb that illuminates your home has passed through Adani's hands. Do you know who operates India's largest port, Mundra Port? It's Adani. Who owns more than 7 major commercial airports in the country, serving hundreds of millions of passengers each year. It's Adani. Who holds nearly 25% of the country's total solar power capacity. It's Adani again. From the ground to the sky, from cities to remote areas, Adani Group is not just participating, it is dominating. And he doesn't do it by shouting slogans. He doesn't need cameras or a list celebrities to kick off his launches. Gautam Adani just needs data, systems, and handshakes with India's most powerful people. While Jeff Bezos started his business in a garage and sold books online, Adani began by exporting small goods in Mumbai, then gradually climbed the ladder container by container, port by port, until he became the largest logistics and infrastructure tycoon in South Asia. If Bezos built Amazon to deliver goods to your doorstep, then Adani built the door to deliver goods around the world. But the real power of the Adani Group does not lie in numbers. It lies in its ability to make people unaware that they are living in a world he has built. It is an invisible power where you don't need to be loved or praised, you just need to be irreplaceable. So while Western tech billionaires frequently make headlines for changing their avatars or tweeting something unusual, Gautam Adani only needs an internal memo and the stock prices of an entire industry immediately plummet. He can lose tens of billions in a single night and regain it all within a week. No need to argue. No need to explain. Because everyone knows India cannot function without the Adani Group. And that is the most terrifying kind of power. Or not power from slogans, but power from dependence. And once he controls ports, airports, energy, and media, the next thing he invests in isn't a company. It's where he lives, buildings not meant for ordinary people. Gautam Adani's $50 million home. In a country where millions of people live crammed into slums measuring just a few square meters, Gautam Adani lives in mansions that could buy an entire small town. But don't think these are just luxurious homes. They are fortresses where money, power, and the fear of being kidnapped blend together. The first house that caught the attention of the ultra-rich was the villa in the Legends area, on the outskirts of New Delhi, where even a small house costs $15 million. No one knows exactly what's inside Adani's house, as no photos have been made public. But when you're the richest man in Asia, you don't need to show off. You just need others to be unable to access. Then came the blockbuster deal, Aditya Estates, a massive real estate complex in the heart of the capital, was bought by Adani and renamed Adani House. With an area comparable to a large office building, this is said to be a silent retaliation against Mukesh Ambani, who owns Antilia, the world's most expensive house worth $2.6 billion. The competition between these two billionaires isn't about words, but about the scale of their mansions. Adani House is estimated to be worth over $48 million, and that's just the property value, not including annual maintenance costs. The team of gardeners, security guards, cleaners, and domestic staff alone could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars each year. Those living inside don't need to step foot outside, as the entire world has been brought inside, from hanging gardens, a private cinema, a spa, to a helipad on the roof. Everything is designed not just for living, but for survival in absolute opulence. The house is not just an asset. It is a shield for survival in a country where billionaire kidnappings were once as common as daily occurrences. And for Adani, who was kidnapped by the mafia in 1998, every brick in the mansion serves as a reminder that wealth comes with danger, and high walls are never enough. Compared to Western billionaires like Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg, who often flaunt their high-tech mansions or smart farms, Adani chooses to hide behind high walls and thick layers of security. Because in India, wealth isn't just power. Wealth is a public threat. Therefore, the larger, more secluded, and more impenetrable the house, the more the owner can sleep soundly. While the poor in Mumbai sleep on scorching tin roofs in 40-degree heat, Adani steps out of his private elevator and flies directly by helicopter from the rooftop to avoid traffic jams. For him, a house is no longer a place to return to. It is a fortress to survive in a world of constant change where even vast wealth cannot buy absolute safety. But it doesn't stop at real estate. Stepping out of those high walls, one encounters something seemingly ordinary, but for Adani, it is chosen as carefully as a life or death companion, the car. No flash, no fancy, this is how the truly wealthy drive. If you're expecting a collection of supercars like Cristiano Ronaldo's or an Arab oil tycoon's, where each car is a rolling diamond, then Gautam Adani might just leave you disappointed. In the world of the wealthy, he has chosen an unusual path, less flashy, but absolutely top-notch. Adani doesn't own hundreds of supercars, doesn't have loud exhausts or flashy gold wraps. His car collection is limited to just a few models, but each one carries a clear message: I don't need to prove anything, because I'm the one who controls the roads. The first and most striking is a Rolls-Royce Ghost worth $339,000. This is the kind of car that true millionaires choose because it doesn't need to make a loud noise to stand out. It's simply the epitome of quiet luxury. While many supercars on the streets turn heads with their roaring engines, the Rolls-Royce glides by like a ghost, leaving a lasting impression of power. Next is a BMW 7 Series, valued at around $80,000. This model is like an Armani suit, no need for flashiness, just a perfect fit and elegance. It is the vehicle of choice for executives who don't need to show off, just be efficient. And efficiency is what Adani pursues in every business move he makes. However, Gautam Adani also has his moments of indulgence. In his garage, there is a red Ferrari California convertible priced at around $70,000. Perhaps it was purchased for a change of pace, a reward for himself on a beautiful day. But even though it's a Ferrari, it's the cheapest model in the Ferrari lineup, just enough fun without being excessive. However, you'll rarely see him driving any of his cars himself. In reality, Adani hardly drives at all. People like him have their own drivers, and not just ordinary ones. A high-ranking driver in India can earn up to $400 a day, not including confidentiality fees, security, and absolute loyalty. To put it bluntly, they are not just drivers, they are mobile walls. And you can be sure of one thing: Adani's cars are not just for transportation. They are armored, bulletproof, equipped with anti-eavesdropping systems, and may even have emergency escape plans. While we choose cars for their engines or brands, billionaires like Adani choose them based on their ability to survive an ambush. But the ground, even with a Rolls-Royce or Ferrari, still slows Adani down. So he chose something else: the sky. It's a place where schedules, safety, and power are absolutely controlled. Gautam Adani's aviation system is not for travel. At an altitude of 40,000 feet, where the sky is free of traffic, free of sirens, and free of any human-caused delays, that is where Gautam Adani travels. Not to enjoy the view, but to ensure one thing: everything is running on schedule. Adani doesn't own a single plane. He has a fleet. It consists of 3 private jets, a bombardier, a hawker, and a Beechcraft. Each one is a flying boardroom, a floating headquarters where decisions worth billions of dollars are made before touching down on the ground. The bombardier, which can cost up to $75 million, has no business class cabin, as the entire aircraft is business class. The interior is leather upholstered, with state-of-the-art soundproofing, dedicated satellite Wi-Fi, and even a private restroom for long flights from Mumbai to Geneva. The smaller, more agile Hawker is designed for short trips requiring quick response times. The Beechcraft, with its modest appearance, serves as a safe option in certain situations, potentially acting as an escape vehicle if security protocols require a diversion. But it doesn't stop there. Gautam Adani also owns 3 Augusta Westland Ul-139 helicopters, each worth approximately $4 million. For him, helicopters are not a symbol of luxury. They are a way to turn every building into a private airport. Every time he lands on the roof of a skyscraper, it's not just an appearance. It's an operational signal, a new project, a contract just signed, a construction site about to break ground. His aviation system is managed like a network with schedules, codes, emergency procedures, and backup maps. They say Adani doesn't live like an individual. He lives like an operating system where there's no room for randomness. Everything must be standardized, redundant, optimized, and never late. Because for him, flying isn't about arriving. Flying is about always being ahead. But when you move around by helicopter, live in a fortress, and own an entire aerial logistics system, you're no longer an individual. You're a target. And to survive, Adani needs more than money. He needs security measures on par with those of a head of state. Absolute security level Z. When you have everything, the first thing you lose is freedom. Gautam Adani doesn't step out of his house alone. He doesn't stroll down the street. He doesn't stop to buy a cup of tea on the sidewalk. Things that seem simple are sometimes luxuries for someone who owns nearly $150 billion. Because at the pinnacle of wealth, not everyone looks up with admiration. Some wait to shake hands, others wait for an opportunity. Adani was kidnapped by the mafia in 1998. No one knows how long he was held captive, or if a ransom was paid. All we know is that he survived, and since then he hasn't lived like an ordinary person. He lives with Z security, the highest level of security provided by the Indian government, equivalent to that of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Z is not just a few bodyguards in black suits. It is a team capable of protecting a head of state, 55 security personnel, 10 armed NSG, National Security Guard commandos, a rapid response force, armored vehicles, signal jammers, remote identification systems, and an emergency evacuation plan for every city he visits. On the outside, Adani is a billionaire. But on the inside, he is managed like a national strategic asset. No one can approach him without passing at least 3 security checks. His itinerary changes at the last minute. All calls, messages, and communications are encrypted. Those closest to him, his drivers, assistants, and personal chefs, have all undergone background checks going back 3 generations. Everything around him is built to protect him from the rest of the world. But in a way, it also separates him from the world. No one can hurt him, but no one can touch him either. No one dares to speak casually. No one knows if he sleeps well. No one knows if his smile is real or just part of his public persona. Being so rich that the whole world is afraid to touch you sounds like a victory. But in reality, it's a gilded prison where peace must be bought with an army. And you begin to wonder, when did success require you to live like you're on the run? And Gautam Adani isn't the only one living like this. Right in the heart of Mumbai, an even more terrifying story exists, where a mansion with 600 servants lies just 4 kilometers away from a slum. 10-story palace, 600 servants, and an entire city serving 5 people. Amid the bustling, suffocating, and chaotic heart of Mumbai, one of Asia's most crowded cities, stands a towering building that resembles a 7-star hotel, yet it does not accommodate guests. It is not a hotel. It is a private residence, and within its walls only 5 people live. That is Antilia, the residence of billionaire Mukesh Ambani, who once surpassed Elon Musk to become the richest person in Asia. But what leaves the world in awe is not its 173-meter height, not its garage housing 168 cars, nor its gold-plated ceilings. It is the number 600 full-time staff members serving just 5 people. Each meal is prepared by a personal chef. Every tree in the garden is tended by a landscape engineer. Each suit is tailored by an Italian specialist. Even the elevators have dedicated button pushers. But if you step down the hill across the street, the scene changes like a nightmare. 50 million people in a slum, where poverty is not a choice. Welcome to Dharavi, India's largest slum, just 4 km from Antilia. Here, an 8-square-meter room can house up to 10 people. There is no air conditioning, no private bathrooms. The electricity is unreliable. And the stench from the sewers is so pervasive that no one notices it anymore. It's become part of daily life. The people here survive by recycling, scavenging, making plastic goods, or even selling blood to make ends meet. Children sleep under scorching tin roofs and study under streetlights. Meanwhile, billionaires live high above, looking down and never see. Mumbai has 27 million people, and nearly 50% live in places that can't be called homes. While the poor struggle to survive, India's ultra-rich build their own world. Private space, private security, private airports, private hospitals, private schools. They don't need the outside world, they've created their own parallel world. In areas like Malabar Hill or Lutyens Delhi, you can find villas priced between $50 and $200 million, surrounded by high walls, iron gates, cameras, and 24/7 security guards. Meanwhile, just a few steps outside, you'll find shanty towns made of plastic sheets, with naked children playing among piles of trash. In Mumbai, the wealthy don't use the roads. They fly by helicopter. There are private helicopter routes every day from homes to the airport, avoiding traffic, strangers, and even reality. They can take just 5 minutes to get from their mansion to a restaurant, while a worker who puts in 16-hour days may not even be able to afford a bus ticket. Here, distance is not measured in money, but in the 40 floors between a penthouse and a tin roof. India's problem is not just poverty. It is that the upper class no longer considers the lower class to be human beings in the true sense of the word. Domestic workers sleep under the staircase. Cleaners are not allowed to use the same bathroom as their employers. Drivers are not allowed to look at their employers through the rearview mirror. In some families, domestic workers are not even allowed to sit at the same table or call their employers by their first names. Why doesn't anyone dare to speak out about this? Because nearly all major media conglomerates have ties to the financial elite. Wealthy politicians rely on the support of billionaires. Housing projects for the poor are often delayed for technical reasons, while mega projects for the ultra-wealthy are approved in a week. Everything runs smoothly thanks to one thing: organized silence. What do you think will happen if one day that crack can no longer hold? Leave your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on stories that make you rethink the world you live in.